this a rebound, then it's driving. Tasting with the fade, not the air, my hands rocking. When I link with ballpoint, you know it's knocking. I'm not the same. Thinking money made me change, nothing else. I think you only love me cause I'm poppin'. This a layup, this a rebound, then it's driving. Tasting with the fade, not the air, my hands rocking. When I link with ballpoint, you know it's knocking. I'm not the same. Thinking money made me change, nothing else.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Walking This Way's Impact Wars podcast. I'm your host, Furman Jackson Jr. I'm the CEO and founder of Walking This Way's Impact Wars podcast. We are broadcasting once again from the DFW, that is Dallas Fort Worth, Texas. We are live streaming right now on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter as well. So if you're watching on any three of those live streaming sites, we thank y'all, we appreciate y'all, and most importantly, we thank everybody for the support. So before we ready to get started, we're to pass and I want my team to introduce themselves. So Desiree, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, Desiree Bailey, and excited to be here with you guys tonight. And definitely tune in and ask us some questions. Ask Courtney some questions about her books that she's written.
Awesome. And of course, we got the man himself, Daquan. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Grace and peace, everyone. This is Daquan. Definitely tune in tonight. I'm excited about this. I like things being done for the children. And, we definitely need more of that. So y'all tune in and support the system.
And also, when our guest introduce herself, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Courtney Kelly. I'm the author of the children's book, Celeste Saves the City. I'm also a construction project manager and engineer. I'm really excited to be with you here tonight. Feel free to ask any questions, comments. I'm sure we'll get into a lot of things throughout the podcast.
And awesome stuff. And like I said, I appreciate everybody just hanging out with us. And most important, it's about our guest tonight. Our guest, Courtney Kelly. She's a hurricane survivor. She's a children's book author. Great woman, has a lot of great things going for us. So that's what we love here on the show. We love people that's doing positive things, just not for themselves, but to impact everybody come in contact with. And that's what it's all about. So once again, we are live streaming tonight. So if you're with us, if you got a question, put a Q in the comment section. If you got a statement, leave a statement. We want y'all to we want to get feedback from y'all tonight. We want feedback from those who are watching us tonight. We want y'all input. And by the way, the replay will be up tonight. We're going to have the replay up on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. So this show will be up tonight on different podcast outlets. So we want everybody to tune in with us and climb with us as well. So I'm going to ask yourself. I'm going to ask you this. Courtney, go ahead. I know you introduced yourself before, and I know those are just tuning in. So let's talk. We're gonna talk some good stuff tonight, and I know Desiree got some questions for you. Daquan got some questions for you as well. So me being a gentleman, I'm gonna start with Desiree. So Desiree, you have anything you want to ask? I get started off.
So I was curious, how many books have you come out with now? I was looking on online and really great pricing for the books, and so but I was just wondering in total, how many have you written so far?
So right now, I only have Celeste Saves the City as the first title, but that title has been translated into German, French, and Spanish. So depends on how you want to count it, 1 book or 4 books. There's another book that's in the works. I'm going to get started on that one with my illustrator in May, and that one should be out around this time next year.
Awesome. Yeah, I actually saw that it was in different versions as well. I like that a lot.
And that's what's up right there. And by the way, if you are watching us right now on Facebook or you watching us on YouTube, Let us know you're watching us. Put hashtag save the city. Hashtag save the city and let us know where you are watching this at. We want to give y'all a big shout out for hanging out with us tonight here on the show. So that's what it's all about. So remember, put hashtag save the city and let us know where you are watching this at. So we want y'all to put that as well. Like I said, that's interesting. Courtney, the book Save the City. Let me ask you this: have you always wanted to be a book author? That's something you wanted to do when you was a child growing up, or you just like walked into it?
I really walked into it. So I've been working in construction since 2012 as a full-time construction person after I graduated from SMU. And there aren't that many people that look like me in the field, right? Black women, it's particularly Black women that are a part of operations, actually like managing the jobs. So I was driving home from New Orleans during Thanksgiving, and I was like, you know what? If I write a children's book, then that's a good way to get the idea of becoming a civil engineer or becoming a construction project manager into the minds of kids at a much younger age than high school when maybe it's too late to catch them. So that's when it first started in 2017. I still have the journal where I jotted the first few lines down, and it took me 5 years, but eventually I got to the point where I was able to self-publish the book because no other publishing company would take me up on the manuscript at the time when I first wrote it.
So why did they want to take you up on the first time? What was that about?
So it's very hard to be an introductory writer or an author. The way it works is you fill out your manuscripts and you just send it off to these publishing companies, especially if you don't have an agent. So they have to review your submission and accept it into their queue of potential publications. And if you can imagine, there's like hundreds of thousands of people sending them, manuscripts all the time. So yours has to be like top of the line, exactly what they want to target for the right audience with the right subjects. And I think in 2017, a book about a Black girl from New Orleans saving the city from flooding was not on anybody's radar. Fast forward a few years, maybe it would have been. But by that time, I had enough wherewithal and enough money really to self-publish the book myself. So that's what I decided to do.
Man, that's what's up. So it's just, okay. They wanted some. They wanted to them in their eyes. To them, they kind of consider that would not be a seller. Where they were looking for more. They probably in their eyes looking for something juicy, some in their mind. But then when you say, okay, look, girl, want to say this city, they want to do away with it. That's just crazy. But that's something positive, and it's not nothing negative.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I learned a lot through that process. And the idea of the book just kind of kept coming to me, kept coming to me. And I remember the moment when something was like, okay, Courtney, like now is the time you need to get this book out into the world. And I was like, I don't know how to do it all, but I can build buildings and bridges and all of these other things. I can figure this out. And so off I went using a lot of those skills that I had developed through the course of my engineering career to make this possible.
And that's what's up right there. And also, while we figure something, we want to give a big shout out to LD Wood. She's watching us right now. I know she spoke very highly of you, Courtney, as well. She the one set this up with us to be on for you to be on the show. So big shout out to her. Big
Yes,
shout out to
thank you.
Anthony Amos as well. He's in the comment section. So big shout out to him as well. But when I look about that, Courtney, we just said it just showed me how you believe in what you were doing, you believe in your project, and you didn't get moved off your square.
Hmm.
And that's what I respect about you, because anybody else probably would have just do the towel in, didn't care no more. But you was determined to get this story out. And you did. And I give you a roses for that.
Thank you.
And I know you mentioned
I
that
definitely have a
the
question.
stuff that you do as working, how you had the money already set up for it. And just look how God made a way for you to be able to do that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And just take us to let's talk about Hurricane Katrina.
Hmm.
You're a survivor of Hurricane Katrina. I remember Hurricane Katrina. Originally, I'm from Mobile, Alabama, so we felt the effects of that.
Hmm.
But as you a survivor, just take us through that time, because we know that was a terrible time for our country. People that was in Louisiana, Mississippi, parts of Alabama felt that. But as you being there, what was going through your mind at that time? 'Cause we know a lot of people lost their lives. We know a lot of people didn't bounce back from that.
Yeah, so I'll answer your question and I'll also show how it ties into the book. So Katrina hit on a Tuesday, I believe. My family evacuated on the Saturday or Sunday before that. So at the time, we were living in New Orleans East, for those of you who are familiar, and our house is actually 3 houses down from the levee. And so we also lived on 2.5 acres, and we had horses and dogs and all these different animals. So my dad actually had to take 2 trips out of the city to get all the animals and all of the people out safely. So I remember crossing the bridge in the first time and just thinking like this doesn't make any sense to me. Ever since I was as little as I can remember, people had talked about Hurricane Betsy. That was kind of the really bad one before Katrina, and how high the water got in our elementary school, and we were on the second floor, and just all of these horror stories. So in my mind at the time, I was a sophomore in high school. It didn't make sense that we had already experienced that as a city, and we were having to go through the same thing again, and all of these people were being uprooted. So before that time, I wanted to be a vet. And after that time, I went to a bunch of STEM camps, science, technology, engineering, and math, before it was popular like it is right now, and really honed in on civil engineering as a way that I could potentially figure out how to save the city of New Orleans when I grew up. So for my family, we evacuated and moved to Baton Rouge. There were 24 of us in a house for a few months until my parents were able to reestablish our lives in Baton Rouge, and ended up graduating high school in Baton Rouge. I went to 3 different high schools because of Katrina. Graduated from high school, moved to Dallas, and that's where I started college at SMU. So just a couple of ways that that ties into the book. I actually put the map of New Orleans in the book, so when kids are reading, they can kind of realize how much New Orleans is surrounded by water. My house is about right there. Um, where the levee is. And also, this is an actual image of my house in New Orleans that I grew up in, which is also important for me to show in the book because kids need to see that these are the types of houses that people grow up in, not just maybe what they see on TV, or different stereotypes about what kind of house a Black family should live in, especially in New Orleans.
Yeah, man, that's what's up. And just that experience, you made a book out of it. And I know that the book is getting around because I seen a video of a little girl actually reading your book. And that's interesting that your book is getting out and it's getting to the hands of children to be able to read and be inspired and say, hey, if she can save a city, I can save a city too. And just to
Exactly.
inspire. So I mean, and how was that experience was when you actually seen people read your book, got feedback from what was that feeling like to say my work, even though it was a dream, it became a reality. Now people are reading what was already in me and it just got
Mhm.
manifested.
Yeah, for me, it's one thing. I would pass a manuscript around to my friends and family, and I would show them the pictures, and they're like, "Oh, it's so great!" And I'm like, "Of course, you guys gonna say that," but it was a real game changer when people who like completely don't know me at all, didn't really know my background, but found the book somehow and just really got behind it. To the point that they've now become advocates and promoters of the book, especially
Yeah.
for kids. I was just in Germany 2 weeks ago, speaking to 1,200 students at the
Hmm.
American military elementary schools in Stuttgart, Germany. And so many of the kids like connected with the themes of the book. And also a common experience is when little girls, little Black girls see the book, they say, "Oh, she looks like me." And it's just like, man, this book is making an impact. And I'm sure I don't see half of the impact that it's making, but the experiences that I do have just fill me up with so much joy. And it kind of give me the energy to keep going and to write more books and to expose more people to it and just bring awareness to it because I can see the good things that are happening.
So, Courtney, for those
Yeah.
that are wanting to publish a book, but say they don't have the funds to just publish it themselves, what advice would you give to them?
So a lot of crowdsourcing is common these days. So there's a group of people that are trying to produce a movie. They just have a crowdsourcing site where you can donate, a particular amount of funds, and then you might get a copy of the movie or get some credits. So that is one route to go. You can also take a loan, depending on your financial situation. That's something that you want to do. There might also be programs. There's a local library in the DFW community in Frisco that is actually geared towards helping people self-publish a book. So there are some avenues there. it does cost some money. It depends on what kind of book you want to publish and if you're going to do illustrations or not. But you can also talk to other people and use like pricing calculators to get a really good idea of how much is it going to cost before you start this process. And talk to me. I'll help people do that too.
And that's I'm glad you brought that up, Desiree. It's the mental capacity. Okay, people have stuff they want to do. People have stuff they inspire to do. But the number one thing they hold them back is the lack of resources, the lack of finances. As no Desiree brought that up. And it's like they get stuck. If that makes sense, they get stuck, they put the limits on themselves because they want to they want to break through, but don't know how to break through. And then get scared. Is they get scared of the numbers.
Yeah, and it's a scary thing. I mean, there are so many things that I learned through this process. Like I said, I know how to manage construction projects. I've been doing that for a while, so I'm used to those scary things. But publishing a book, I mean, like there are times when I got deliveries of books and like I would turn through the pages and there was something wrong on almost every page, and I was just like, this can't be my life. Like, what did I just do to myself? But you figure out how to get through it, right? So now I know, okay, as soon as I get a box of books, open them up, do QC, here's how I connect, here's how I communicate with the printing companies so that they understand the problems that I'm having. And now, even when that happens, um, I'm able to keep rolling because I can see the light at the end of the tunnel because I've gotten the resources that I need and the tools in my school belt to be able to make it through those things.
And that's so. Also, we got a comment. We got a question too in the comment says. Big shout out to Anthony Amos out of Chicago. He said, "Can you speak to the importance of managing setbacks?"
Yeah, so there have been plenty of setbacks. I mean, I just talked about this trip to Germany. I had been trying to get somebody to take me up on an offer to let me do an author visit or a book reading for like months, like since October. It wasn't until January that someone actually said, "Hey, we're interested in you coming." Not even like solidified the offer yet, but I was going to Germany in March. So it was like 2 months that we had to plan this whole thing, ship 550 books out. So setbacks, one thing is that I wrote this journal entry. It's like there will be turbulence. You can't go through life anticipating that everything's going to go right. And instead, I say, you know what, things are going right, but something's going to go wrong. And when that thing goes wrong, I have to remember the purpose that I have behind what I'm doing. And I have to have faith that whatever happens, I'm going to make it through. And I don't lean on my own understanding all the time to do that. I pull my people in, my tribe of people. Hey, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? Google is a good friend, but Google can't tell you everything. So sometimes, you just have to like go to different sources to find your information. But in general, when I have setbacks, I just try to put those things into perspective. Like, yeah, these 50 people just told me no or didn't respond to my email, but I only need one. I need one person to say yes. And if I can find that one person, this needle in a haystack, then that's all I need to keep going to the next step. So sometimes people
That's
have these big, lofty dreams, right? And it's like, man, I just want to get to the top of the mountain. You got to climb the mountain before you can get to the top. And climbing that mountain is not going to be easy all the time. But if you take it, one step at a time, then eventually you get there.
That's it. Because I wanted to go see John Wick. I'm glad you brought that up. 'Cause I went to go see John Wick 4 this past weekend. Man, that's a great movie. John Wick 4, you can learn a lot of stuff in that movie. But in the scene in the movie, John Wick, before he to get his freedom, he had to go take care of something. Anyway, it was a flight of stairs. And then he had to make it up the flight of stairs before done because he had to do his final mission, whatever. But when John Wick was going up the stairs, all these guys came and they knocked him back down the stairs. They were trying to keep him from making it up the stairs before done. But he got back up and he kept fighting through. Eventually he made it up there. That just made me think about what you said.
Hmm.
Just because we got them stairs and mountain to climb, yeah, the finish is up there. The next level is up there. Yeah, you're gonna have things, you're gonna have people and stuff gonna come against you, but it's up to you to keep fighting through those odds, keep fighting through those challenges, keep fighting through those setbacks, because eventually you're gonna get there to where you want to get at. And that's what made me think about what you just said. That would happen in John Wick also.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
I love that, you like when we had Anthony on the show, he basically was saying the same thing, when you've got to go through those hard times to appreciate those good times. And then here, hearing Courtney say the same exact thing, that just goes to show, having your faith, staying persistent,
Hmm.
and not giving up. That's exactly what you have to do to make something be successful.
You got to. And you can't give up at all. You can't give up, period. If there's something you're serious about, it's going, what they say, how, I mean, E.T. Eric Thomas said he made something about the water. They say somebody bring you into the middle of the ocean and that water stuff coming up your head. What you going to do? You trying to fight to survive. You trying to fight to breathe, right? So that's how it be. If you're in the middle of the ocean and the water stuff covering your head, you're fighting for air. You're fighting to get out. You're fighting to breathe, and that's how it should be. If it's how bad you want to, it just it's going to how bad you really want it,
Hmm.
and it's not going to be.
Unless you're me, I just lay on my back and float. I'm like, somebody save me.
Well, yeah, let you like literally lay your back and float, but it just really goes back how bad did you want it? How bad do you want it to succeed? Because in order for you to give up something, in order for you to get something, you have to give up something.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about this on the show before.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Courtney, people want the success,
Hmm.
but they're not willing to give up anything to be successful.
Yeah. I mean, and
It's
people,
like
they see me.
they want like
Yeah, people see me and, I have a very full-time job, right? But I do stuff for the book. I also have a small business baking treats for rabbits. I have a pet rabbit and I sell the treats to other people around the country. And I do like talks and I do all this and that. And they're like, man, you do a lot. It's like, yeah, you see the posts on Instagram, you see it on Facebook and on LinkedIn, but like I'm working all the time and I don't mind. This is what I've chosen for my life, but you can't want to do the things that I do or be as successful as you think I am without also acknowledging that this takes a whole lot of hard work. And if you're willing to
Yes.
put forth the effort, then you can do the same things. But if you're not, then you're not going to get there. And it's just as simple as that.
and you're not, and you're really not because it said I'm gonna say this in the movie. He said the bad guy, the main bad guy said in the movie. He said a man that has no purpose is nothing. You got to have a purpose in life. What is your purpose in life? If you ain't got no purpose, you got nothing. So you have to know what your purpose is. Find your purpose. Tap into what you really want to do, and stick to it. And don't want to be a part of the in crowd. Everybody want to be a part of the in crowd. It's nothing wrong with standing out. If you really want to be successful, you're gonna have to give up some things. You're gonna have to give up going out for a little while. You're gonna have to give up going to parties and stuff like that if you really trying to get somewhere in life. If that makes sense what I'm saying, because it comes with making sacrifices and the challenge is gonna come against you, but the challenge is to see if you really want it or not.
Yep.
So that's what we want to talk about. So, Daquan, you have anything you want to ask?
Oh, I'm just waiting till she get into the title of the book because I'm just, I'm fond of all of that. When it comes to things for children, heroes, things that kids inspire to be, and a lot of times, the heroes are heroes that seem kind of far away. Like
Mm.
Superman is a hero that's far away, but to come up with a local hero, somebody that understands you, you like, you feel more important. Like, hey, I can do this because if they're right here, I'm right here with them. They could do it, I could do it. So I'm just waiting for that part.
Yeah, we can jump into it right now. So part of I mean, there are so many hidden layers to this book, but um, Celeste represents me, and it's so funny. Sometimes the kids they'll look at her and they'll look at me and they're like, "I think it's about you," or they'll turn to the back of the book and see my picture, and they're like, Is this you? I think it's you." It's like, yeah, y'all, it's me. So it was very important that Celeste represents a character who isn't very well represented, right? If you look at the statistics of the number of books that feature a black main character, children's books in particular that feature a black main character, it's not that many. And you'll see that there's a spike when the Black Lives Matter movement was happening, and then as soon as that went away and people gravitated away from that movement, it comes back down again. So for me, it was important to include Celeste in all of her glory, her hair, her features, all of it's there. And then also for kids to see Celeste grow up, right? Because might have heard these statistics as well, but a lot of girls in particular, we lose their interest in science and in math, which are the gateways into STEM and all of these other things that we try to push kids towards these days. They lose that along the way. So what I wanted to show them was that here you are, maybe as a girl, but you're going to grow up eventually. And when you grow up, I want you to be reminded of Celeste, reminded of the fact that she was once a little girl too, but when she grew up, she kept studying, she kept reading, she kept working hard. She had a dream and she achieved it, because you can do the same thing. And then when she's grown, she is this person who is in charge of a construction project, right? Something that, again, is not very common these days. So maybe by the time there's a kid that's reading this book now gets to become the age of Celeste as an adult, that's not so uncommon within the industry, right? And it's not just construction. I was talking to someone else about a different industry. It's not, one thing, it's across the board. So there are multiple touch points through this book that I'm hoping to convey. And another question I always get is the book for boys, or is a book for people that are not Black? Yes and yes, right? Because it's nothing wrong with little boys reading a book about a Black girl. There's nothing wrong with other kids who don't identify as Black reading about a Black character. That's part of the issue that we're facing now, and we're seeing ramifications of it. So encourage them to read it. I read about Batman and Superman and all of the other people. They can read about this too.
Damn, and that's what's up right there. And you mentioned something too. The work behind the scenes, the work that she was doing and working and studying, and just really go back to Arab. They see the glory out front, but they don't see the work behind the scenes. That's what the real challenge is at. It's not in front of everybody. The real challenge is behind the scenes with the training, with the studying, with the you name it. That's the work behind in order to obtain the glory, and just being determined in what you want to do and how you want to get there. You know what it takes to get there.
What is it we said? You see my glory, you don't know my story.
That's right.
Right. And that's what it is. And that's what it is, Desiree, because the greats put in the work. Somewhere in the world, even though Michael Jordan not playing basketball no more, he probably practicing somewhere. Tom Brady still throwing the football somewhere, even though he may not be playing no more. LeBron James would probably be still doing the same thing. He may not be seeing them. They may not have a game now, I don't know. But he's still working behind the scenes. In order for you to be great, you still got to put in the work. I remember this story. Ray Lewis. Everybody familiar with Ray Lewis, the football player. Well, it was his pastor named Jamal Bryant, and it was during the off season. It was when he was still playing for Baltimore Ravens. So Ray Lewis was still in the gym during the off season. So the pastor asked him. He said, "Man, why you still come to the gym? It's the off season. People on vacation, people relaxing." But he said the Bible said in season, in season, and out of season. Just because the football season is over does not mean that my season is over. So even though football season is over with, I still have to be instant in season and out of season. You hear people always say, "My season, my season." It should don't be so working on your season. Be focused on your when you out of season, because the trees still gonna stay. Even though the trees go through summer, winter, spring, and fall, that tree still gonna stand. Even though the tree may lose its limbs, it's still gonna stand at all costs. And we go through different seasons in our lives. We go through summer, we go through winter, we go through spring, we go through fall, but we still keep standing because we know what we got to do.
Yeah, and if I could touch on that for a second. So I have 4 degrees, and I don't say that to for clout or anything, but
Right.
to your point, people ask me why do you have 4 degrees? And sometimes I just did it because the circumstances made sense for me to do it. And there was a pathway clear. I tried to close the door and then a window would open. It's like, okay, that's where I need to be headed. So I did undergrad in civil engineering and math. I got my master's. There was an accelerated master's program. So I finished my master's degree in 1 year instead of 2 in civil engineering. And then later I got my MBA. And people were like, why did you do all of that? All of the things I always say that today is the culmination, the summation of all my past days. All of those things made me very well prepared to do Celeste Saves the City. So the seasons don't always match. I have friends who I haven't seen since like COVID because I'm grinding all the time. They know I love them, they know I care
Keep
about them,
grinding.
but I can't come to the party. I
You're
can't
right.
go shopping with you. Like, I'm on a mission right now. When my mission is over, when this season of grinding is over, then we can get together. But for right now, like, there's a clear purpose to what I'm doing, and I have to stay focused on that, because when I don't stay focused, I start losing track of where I'm supposed to be for me and for my, race in life. Nothing against anybody else, but I know what I'm supposed to be doing
Definitely.
right now, and I have to stay focused on that, because otherwise I'm going to lose time that I'm not going to get back.
Right.
And I love that, Courtney, just because the others have heard, I stay busy all the time. I'm constantly participating in something, agreeing to do something. And, even on education, I didn't go to college until 17 years after high school. So I was in my mid 30s when I decided to, and I did that associate's in a year, the bachelor's in a year, and my master's in a year and a semester. And everybody was like, why are, you waited so long? You're almost 40. And I said, if I am not, growing, then I don't feel like I'm living. So even now,
Exactly.
still, I'm constantly taking, extra, certifications for stuff. And they're like, but you have your degree, you know what you want, but you never know what door is going to open.
Hmm.
And so I'm like, and, I definitely would say that, back whenever I had finished school, I would have never thought college, I was already in a relationship, and so I thought it'll be okay. This is just my life. Then, after going to college, now it's like I thrive on that. I want to learn more. I want to educate myself more. And, you just don't ever know when it's going to benefit you. And so I feel like that everybody should just push themselves to the limits. And right now, people will be like, you're married to your work. I'm married to my work because right now this is what my passion is. This is, if I'm not working and doing something all the time, I feel like I've just lost track of everything. I need it.
And I applaud y'all too for what y'all doing. I applaud y'all for y'all staying focused and staying consistent. Just listen to you, Courtney, and you Desiree speak. That's truly an honor to hear that, because you're creating a life that you want to live. And now you have people, the spectators will tell you it don't take all that. Yes, it do, because you're doing it for you. And that's what you're doing it for. You're doing it for Courtney, you're doing it for Desiree, you're not doing it for anybody else. This is what I want to do. And people always get kidding with all that. We don't take all that. Yes, it do. Take all that because I'm doing it for me. Everything starts with you.
Mm-hmm.
So you doing it for you. And then in due time, in due season, when it's time to lollygag and party with her, we'll do that. So right now, I got a fire lit under my ass that I got to get somewhere. I can't waste no more time. You know what I'm saying? I waste time in your 20s, your 30s, whatever the case may be. But when you start getting up in age, it's go time. And if they don't understand, then they can kick rocks, pretty much. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Because they don't understand. They don't match the vision anyway. Put it that way. They don't match it
Yeah.
anyway. So keep doing what y'all doing.
And I definitely had a question for Courtney. So is this like the first and only book you'll do based on like this superhero kind of narrative?
So the second book is going to be about Celeste doing a tunneling project. So there's tunnels used for a lot of different reasons and purposes. We can't do a tunnel in New Orleans because it'll be completely like submerged in water the whole time. So she'll have to be in another city. But other ideas are to, I've done a lot of work at DFW and Love Field airports, two of our airports in the DFW, Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex, for those of you who aren't in this area. So I want to do a story about Celeste paving the runway. And what does that look like? What does that mean? And then also one with her fixing some type of underground utility problem. I've done a lot of jobs where we're installing storm drain lines, sewer lines, water lines, and we know there are a lot of issues with our infrastructure right now when it comes to utilities. And so Celeste is going to discover a problem about a utility and then go ahead and replace that utility. But I have ideas for other books as well. My dad's a farrier, a blacksmith. He puts horseshoes on horses and trims their hooves. So I want to write a story about that, because for those of you who aren't aware, you can get paid like $100 an hour doing that. And that's like minimum. Like you can go all around the world, work at racetracks, whatever you want to do. There's a very lucrative career path in that. And also, I have a bunny named Elvis. He looks like a dog, so I have some ideas for doing an Elvis and Lionhead Rabbit series, where it's just like Elvis goes to the park and he goes to the museum and he takes a trip to the White House. So yeah, there are more books in the works.
I like that because
Man,
it's like you could bring the seriousness of problems to people's faces. Because I'm sorry to you may not like it, but a lot of stuff that are made in the black community is it leans towards more of the stereotypes. The gangster movies, the gangster this or whatever that, or money this, but you don't see kids things being made, no kids movies, no cartoon ideas, or nothing that's really being pushed more so than a stereotype. So I think it's a good thing that, hey, maybe a kid can learn about infrastructure because he read your book. All that is the real stuff that push society forward. I think, kudos to you for that.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, Daquan. And I love, Courtney, that it's not your typical, prissy princess girl kind of book that you would see normally for a female doing something and excelling it, at it. It's basically sending out that message that whatever your heart desires to do, whatever you have a passion about, you could do it. It doesn't matter male, female, like you said, it's not going to be every day that you would just see a female that's this engineer and wanting to write this story about, the things you're writing about, but it's setting that example to those others to say, you know what, if that's what you want to do, if you want to build tunnels, if you want to build, your book about the runway, I think that's amazing. That you're putting that seed, you're planting that seed for the young children that are, going to have to pick out and say, hey, she did it, I can do it.
Yeah, and it's so cool. Like, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead and finish.
So when I was in Germany, I did this activity with the kids. Celeste ends up creating these barrier islands that basically protect the wetlands, existing wetlands along the coast of New Orleans or any coastal city. But they also have a recreational use and purpose as well. And after I read the book, the kids were tasked with creating their own barrier islands out of Legos. And when I tell you these kids are like so intelligent and creative and they have all of the solutions to all of our problems, we just listen to them. I was like, this is what we need. Like, if I can plant a seed in just like 5 of those kids' minds that this is something I can carry with me, like the world will be better off for it, right? Because they're learning about problems that are eventually going to be theirs to deal with, right? When we're older and they're running the things and they're the mayors and the lawyers and police officers or whatever it may be, they can think back, what am I doing as an adult and how does that impact the rest of society because I read this book? And so I'm hoping to draw these like through lines to the kids, to the parents, to the teachers, whoever is interacting with these books and exposing them to these different concepts so that there can be a wider discussion about what's going on in society and how do we make this place better for everybody.
Most definitely. And before we finish, we're going to take a quick commercial break. And after the commercial break, we're going to jump right back in with Save the City with our featured guest, Courtney Kelly. We'll be right back after the commercial break, everybody.
Hi, my name is Delashawn Bordeaux, and I'm the founder. Hi, my name is Delashawn Bordeaux, and I'm the founder of Speak Our Truth, a nonprofit for survivors of sexual assault. Join us April 8th, 2023 for I Survived From Trauma to Triumph. This time will be spent together sharing stories of triumph from survivors of sexual assault, domestic violence, divorce, and sickness. So grab your girls and make sure y'all purchase your tickets at www.speakourtruth.org. It's time for us to redefine the beauty that lies beneath our pain. See you there.
M. Green Enterprises, the home of Malira Green, your confidence coach. She is a licensed clinical social worker who serves as a therapist, clinical supervisor, master healer, and transformative speaker. Malira is fiercely committed to guiding individuals to become unstuck and motivated to confidently reach their goals while owning their God-given gifts. She serves as the bridge between your caterpillar and butterfly moment. If you are ready to transform, check out www.maliratransforms.com, for she is ready to transform with you.
Hey, what's up, Era? We're back here on Walking This Way's Impact Wars podcast. I'm your host, Furman Jackson Jr., broadcasting once again from the DFW with Dallas Fort Worth, Texas, along with the team back, Desiree, DeCorn, as well our featured guest, Courtney Kelly. We thank you once again for hanging out with us. And another thing we want to talk about, let's ask about Germany. I know you mentioned Germany. How was that experience, and how was the culture there? I know you was there on a business trip, but how was the culture there?
Yeah, so it was actually my fourth time to Germany. And again, I mentioned that like today is a culmination of all my past days. This was my first time doing the entire trip without my friend who is German, like at my side, like showing me what to do and where to go and how to navigate. So it was a pretty big deal. So the trip, it was me, my sister, and my cousin who actually still lives in New Orleans. And we went to these three different elementary schools, and the schools are situated on army bases within the city of Stuttgart. So if their parents, the kids' parents, are a part of the military in whatever fashion, they would go to one of these three elementary schools. So one school we did 2 days, and the kids were brought in by grade level, and we do a book reading and any activity. And that school had 550 students, and also someone donated 550 books so that every kid in the school had a copy of the book that I hand signed for each of those students. So that, day one and two, I was like, man, this is awesome. But day three, we had to hit up two schools on one day. So one school had 250 kids, and we did that in the morning. And then in the second school, they had about 485 students. And what we actually did there was a writing workshop for the fourth and fifth graders. So I did the theme of tell your own story, similar to what I did with Celeste Days of City. So we picked a subject, we picked a message that they wanted the readers to get across, some other counterpoints that they wanted to incorporate inside of the book, and then they actually started penning their own stories. And it was interesting the types of stories that the kids wanted to talk about. There were a couple of students that wanted to talk about this. The emotions that they feel as a military kid, this happiness and joy, but then also the sadness because they're in Germany and their dad is deployed to Japan. So it was a way for them to express themselves through this writing workshop, and I was really impacted by that. The last event of the entire trip, and it was kind of interesting because I wasn't even supposed to be at this school less than a week before we were there, but they had all 485 students in one room at their auditorium, and I did a book reading and then Q&A. And I mean, just sitting on the stage thinking like, man, like this is actually happening. This is real. Like there's 485 kids here. Like, and I'm about to read this book on this stage with this mic. Like, let's go. So the overall experience was just phenomenal. I mean, the schools are amazing. The kids are just so talented, so creative, and intelligent. I'm just really thankful that someone took a chance on me. I mean, this all happened because the principal of the school happened to see my email in her junk inbox, mail inbox, the week of Christmas. Like, if you think about that, someone happens to be going through their spam folder the week of Christmas and come across this random email from a random person in Dallas saying, hey, let me come visit your school on this secured military base. Like, she could have been like, no, this is junk. But instead, she said yes, and that opened up this door for me to go and visit all of these different students in 3 days' time.
Oh man, that's awesome. That happened for you, and you big went over and do that. Just to introduce your work that you're doing. That's awesome. That really is. And the invitation was extended to you. You went ahead and took it, and hey, you made an impact ever since they within them 3 days. That's awesome. So, are there any plans for you to go back to Germany in the near future?
Yeah, so we're gonna try to set something up with the other schools that are in Germany. There are 63 total schools. That includes elementary, middle school, and high school. But we're trying to orchestrate that where I would actually be there for a week doing another round of book talks.
And that'd be fun. Right? That'd be. Let me ask you this: How okay, the culture overseas over in Germany compared to the United States. How is the culture over there as well? Especially for you being from the United States. How was it?
Yeah, so I like absolutely love Germany. I think some people are waiting for me to just tell them that I'm moving there. I've been studying German, so it was like my 1,000 day on Duolingo. If any of you use Duolingo for language learning, so I'd done a 1,000 day streak in German, like the day I left America to go there. I would say the culture, especially being from the South, can be a bit standoffish at first because when people pass each other on the street, they don't like speak to each other or say hi or things like we would normally do. But everybody's super duper nice, and if you need anything, people that help you. Most people are under the age of about 40 speak English, so navigating is pretty easy. The food is good, so we ate at German restaurants. Pretty much the whole time we were there, and it felt like being at home, getting some good cooking. Yeah, I just love it. The scenery is beautiful. You can get anywhere on the train system. So you guys see why I kind of want to move there. If anybody hasn't been, I would suggest you go. Highly suggest you go. There's also a lot of architectural things,
Man,
museums, things for you to look at. Parks, nature is really big. So yes, it's a nice place to be.
man, that's what's up. So the book is eligible to order online, correct?
Yeah, so people can order through my website, CourtneyKellyBooks.com, but you can also find it in hardcover, paperback, and ebook, pretty much anywhere books are sold. And that's in all of the different languages as well. So you can either look for my name, Courtney Kelly, or you can look for the title, Celeste is a City, or the translated title for whatever language you want the book to be in. And you can find it pretty much anywhere, Amazon, but then also at local and indie bookstores.
How
Man,
can a
that's what's up.
different book
So
company collaborate or work with you?
Was the question, how do people collaborate or work with me?
Yes, like how can someone reach out to you and say, "Hey, I love your work, and I would like to put my part in."
Yeah, so I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. So if you search for me on LinkedIn, Courtney Lynn Kelly or Courtney Kelly Books. Also on Instagram at Courtney Kelly Books, you can send me a message. That's how this whole thing got orchestrated for me to be on the podcast. Also, there's a contact form on my website, so you can fill it out, and then we can make magic happen together.
that's it. Like Nike, just do
There you
it.
go.
Like
Yeah.
Nike, just do it. Like Nike, because that's what I learned, Courtney. Why put off tomorrow when you can do today?
Mhm.
That's what I learned in this journey, especially in the way of business and stuff like that. Never put it off because tomorrow's not promised. So it's like the opportunity present itself. Hey, go for it. And you don't, because I'm the type of person I don't want to live in regret. I don't want to be
Yeah.
that woulda, coulda, shoulda type dude. So hey, make it happen, Captain. That's how I look at it. Another thing I want to ask that too. Uh, would your book become an animated series? We know a lot of children books do become anime. So is that in the works too, or what's up with
I
that
mean,
one?
I think you just spoke it into existence. So if anybody out there,
Yes. That's how
I
we're going
mean,
to show the support, right?
yeah, if you know somebody, but it's funny that you bring that up. So I have all of this content from the trip to Germany. So I have this. I get these random ideas and I just go for them. So the latest random idea is for me to do a like 10 to 15 minute documentary about that experience. So who knows? Maybe someone will see that and be like, you know what? We should make this into a animated children's series. That'll be awesome. Or even a
I
movie.
can
So let's
believe
say
it.
the city the movie. We can even use my house in New Orleans for her house.
Oh yeah, you can do that. You can make a computer anime out of that. That's what they're doing now anyway. So it can happen. I'm saying all things are possible. So hey,
That's
that must
right.
happen. So when we give a big guy shout out to James Burns, he's watching us in the comment section. Hey, business owners, hey, business owner yourself. So James Burns is watching us right now on Facebook Live. Man, this is a lot of great stuff. I love this energy. I love the energy here on tonight's show. Appreciate everybody watching in, tuning in, saying stuff. Just really collaborating in the comment section as well. So we're very excited as well. So, churn book author, you're doing tours. What's gonna be the next tour for you, Courtney? You did Germany. What's on the next? What's on the menu next?
Yeah, so I really want to do and I don't know how long it's going to be, but I really want to do a tour through the state of Louisiana. I have a lot of family members that are in the education sector. So going to their schools and then also targeting a couple of other schools just within the city of New Orleans, but going all the way up through the state, kind of making my way back to back to Texas along the way. But that'll be really awesome. I can make that happen. I do have a day job, so that's a bit much to coordinate sometimes, especially managing construction projects. It's not good for the project manager to not be there, so I'll have to figure all of that out.
Right.
But I hope to continue doing this. I mean, the good thing is that the book's already out, right? So it's not like I have a
Right.
timeline of when I have to do all of these things by. I'm just gonna keep putting myself out there. Maybe there'll be a European tour one day. I don't know. At this point, I'm like, the sky's the limit and all things are possible. So I'm gonna just keep putting one step forward and see where I land.
It is. You know what I'm saying? I understand that we all have to work for a living, but I know people want to have that time where they don't have to work for anybody. They can work for themselves and do these great things around the world, and they see it in their neighborhood. We know the working wise. I understand that people really want to have their own thing, and I applaud people who want to have their own thing and be able to do these things. We only got 24 hours within a day. Half the
Hmm.
time we gotta sleep, and then most of the time we gotta work. So it's like, but making the sacrifices to still fulfill your dream and your obligations. Even though I know I work myself, but you still have to fulfill your purpose. You still have to fulfill your destiny, as they say, your dream, because you still gotta do your dream. You know what I'm saying? You still gotta fulfill what you know you was meant to do here on earth. Because everybody has a gift and utilize that gift. And what they say, the Bible says your gift should bring for great men. And that's what it's all about.
I had a
Yeah.
question too. Um, I wanted to ask, like, how important is it to chronicle your life? Like, you chronicled it totally different than just writing out a little simple book. Give us pointers and markers to kind of go to, reference, see more about it. Like, how important is that?
For me, and it kind of goes back to the conversation of like how hard it is to get to where you want to be. It's almost like every day I try to take a log of what took place today, because your future is dictated by your past and your present, right? Because today is going to be tomorrow once the clock strikes midnight. So I think it's important to take inventory of that and to recognize these like periods and moments in your life. One, so that you can go back and look to those things and say, okay, this is what I've accomplished, this is what I've been through. But then also because it's important to capture, and that's part of what I did with the book. It's important to capture our own stories. I remember I was listening to, I think it was Janelle Monáe talk on a radio show about we can write our own stories, we can create our own narratives, we can tell our own stories. And in order to do that, it has to be written down. If something is a historic record, it's because someone took the time to write it down. If we're not doing that, then it's lost, and maybe it's passed on
Right.
through word of mouth. But if you write this stuff down, so 20 years from now, if I want to write an autobiography, or I watch Korean dramas, so I keep saying I'm going to have a drama about my life that's like Courtney Kelly's life, the Korean drama. In order to do that, I have to write down all of these things that have been happening so that I can have the
True.
content to give to somebody to write that script for that drama show. So if I'm not doing that, right, if I'm not chronicling all of these milestones within my life, the good, the bad, and the ugly, then I'm losing out on the ability to have that for later, because you will not remember it all. Like you won't remember, the great ideas you thought about 5 minutes ago, let alone all of these monumental things that have happened along the
That's
course of
true.
your life.
That's true. Because the old saying is, it ain't written, it never happened. So you are right about that. You write it, it happened. If you didn't write it, it didn't happen. So that's important. Let's talk about goals. Let's talk about that. Setting goals. How do you set your goal? Everybody loves setting goals, right? So as you being a woman of expectations, Miss Kelly, how do you go about setting your goals? And what advice can you give someone who's having trouble setting goals?
So it's funny because like I don't really set these lofty goals all the time. I think I need to start
Okay.
dreaming a little bit bigger. Usually what happens is I get these crazy ideas about things, and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense, but I'm gonna figure it out. And once I figure it out, I think that what happens is I want to see how much further I can push myself, right? So let's take rabbitries for
I
an
like that.
example. It started because Dallas had an ice storm and my bunny went crazy when I tried to give him a waffle cone, I was eating a waffle cone. So I was like, oh, well, let me make him treats in the form of a waffle cone, right? So I didn't have a goal to go and make a rabbit treat business. It became a goal when I realized that other people on Etsy were selling these treats. And I thought, you know what? I think I can do it too. Let me try to do it. And once I got the first couple of sales, I was like, oh, I can actually make money doing this. So then I set a goal of, hey, let me try to sell X number of dollars of rabbit treats. So now it's my oven broke. I bought a new oven. Let me sell enough treats to cover the cost of the oven that I just bought. And so I don't necessarily start out with a goal. A lot of times it comes from a random idea, but I do try to catalog at the beginning of the year, not necessarily New Year's resolutions, but if I
You're
could have
right.
anything, I would write those things down, right? Lofty goals that don't make sense in a moment sometimes, but it's inspiration that I've gotten that I just write down on a sheet of paper. And to your point of cataloging your experiences, then I could go back and say, you know what, I wrote this down 6 months ago, and look, it's actually happening.
And I think that's great. And I think,
Yeah,
just
that's it,
being,
because we know that.
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, always dreaming big, but also, being realistic that it doesn't happen overnight.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just really important for
And
everybody
that's
to
when
remember. Go ahead.
yeah, don't give up. You don't give up. I would say Desiree, when they say don't give up, you say it don't happen overnight, but don't give up at all. Just
Right.
keep making stuff happen. Because we already, the thing about it, we already in the third month. We're in the 28th day of the third month of 2023. We about to be ready to go into the fourth month of
Mm-hmm.
2023. And we should be at the point now that we should have want to see some type of changes, some type of results. And we know it starts with us. We do the changes for us, in the beginning of the year from December 31st to January 1st. People get excited. This is my year. This is my season. Then they get that expectation. They get all their emotions into it. And then they go through the year doing the same old thing. And then at the end of December 31st, all the way to January 1st to get back excited again. We have to graduate from all that and really be focused. Okay, what do I want for my life? Sit down and examine where I'm at, where I need to be at, what I'm doing wrong. I'm gonna say this for example too. It's like in sports when they have a game and they have practice, they go to the film room. The purpose of the film room is to see what you did wrong, what you need to work on, so you won't. So when you have another game again, you won't make the same mistakes again. That's something we should have in our own life. Have that mental game room. Okay, take a seat back. Okay, how I did what? How I would have brought this wrong. Okay, I need to critique that. So it's all about growth and to involve. We're supposed to involve anyway. Some people stop involving, but we should want to involve each and every day. Right now, it's gonna be a whole new us tomorrow at 12:01. It's gonna be a whole new different breed of people. We're not gonna be the same. Well, some people probably be the same, but I'm just speak for us. We're not gonna be the same. We're gonna do something different, new ideas, new goals, new assignments and stuff like that. Big shout out to Latanya. She said, yes, self inventory. Big shout out to big shout out to Latanya Will, Whitehead. She said, I call it self inventory. You correct. Self inventory. And that's what we need to take for our lives. Take self inventory. You know what you need to tighten up on. You know it. And a lot of times we do see this stuff, but we don't do anything about it. So always take self inventory of yourself. That's something I apply and that's something I practice in my life every day. I'm all about getting better. You sure want to get better. We all want to get better. So it's all about getting better. So that's what it's all about. And it was all about getting better. So we have anything else? Desiree, you want to have anything?
Well, I just wanted to definitely bring up the video that we watched. I don't know if Courtney or Daquan or any of our listeners did, but what happened a few days ago in Mississippi with the wife that killed her husband after finding out that he was bisexual. Did you watch that, Courtney?
Mm-mm.
I don't know if Furman can stick that in the comments for anybody to be able to have that link so that they could see that. Daquan, before I voice my 1,000 opinions on that video, please tell me how that made you feel.
So, that's rough. Because don't get me wrong, problems we get all serious sometime, but I just feel like you can't take a life. You don't like to create that. You don't know what that took from like for God to make that. And I just feel like to just take it without reasoning. Like, can we reason? Can we talk about this first before you completely take me out of here? I don't know. And I just feel like they're not patient enough for that. They're just too much in their anger. And the scriptures say a furious man can't be justified. Because when you look at it, they're going to say, well, why did you do it? Because of this? And they're going to be like, really? You took a life for that. But yeah, that's my take on it.
But they come from the corn too. That's not the first time. That's something they've been doing. And that's not the first time. That's something they've been doing. That didn't just happen today. That's something they've been doing. They've been having problems. And you see a lot of people in these relationships, they argue, they fuss and fight, they put hands on each other. But for some weird reason, they'll stay in that type of environment instead of somebody being man enough, woman enough to step back. And that's what it is. Like some people just don't want to let go. It go back to loving yourself. When you love yourself enough, you're gonna remove yourself out of these toxic situations.
See, and here's what I'm gonna cut you off and say though, the gentleman was trying to leave the home. That's what was so disturbing to me. So Courtney, just to kind of give you like the like synopsis of the situation, apparently this wife had posted previously on Facebook that day how she was calling her husband out, basically, okay, how he's never home, and he's lying about where he's at, and she was saying that he was bisexual. So the husband's not there. The wife and her mom are just like hyping each other up about what a piece of shit this guy is, okay? And the mom is just, she was out of line. Like, that just disturbed me right there. One, it tells me that's exactly why you should keep your relationship issues to yourself, because you've always got that hype person, right, that's going to make stuff worse. So the husband comes home and he's like telling her, I want to leave. I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave. She's like, you're not going anywhere. She's like slapping on him, and she's doing this all live on Facebook. So this is all being recorded. And so she's like making these verbal threats to him. She even says in there, I'm going to kill you. She has small children, one being a newborn and some of a good enough age that they knew exactly what's going on. Mm-hmm. The next thing you see is the camera goes down and she pulls out a gun and she kills him in front of the children. So she's over here all worried about herself. Honestly, I felt like she was when I'm listening to it. She's like, oh my gosh, her children are screaming. Her children are saying, I want my daddy. I want my daddy. Daddy's literally shot dead in front of them. And she just is cold-hearted, says, your daddy's dead. Like after she shoots this man, right? And then she's all trying to say, yelling at him, asking him to, don't leave me, come back. I didn't mean to. You don't just grab a gun. You first of all don't say minutes beforehand, I'm going to kill you. That right there already shows me, premeditation. Okay. So then to pull a gun, and she was saying, I didn't know there was I didn't know that there was anything in the chamber. You still had no business pointing that gun and taking that man's life. My heart goes out not only to, his family as far as parents, if he has siblings and stuff, but to those children. And to think that those children are going to be so traumatized by what they had to witness. And these children are like crying the whole time. And the only thing, the mom's not even trying to comfort these kids. She's like, go to your room, go upstairs, go to your room. These children are looking at their dead father that mom just shot because mom wanted to be funny. And if you'll notice, I don't know if Furman and Daquan, while she's sitting there trying to call him out on stuff, she's all like, all worried about how she looking on social media, Go ahead.
She trashy. She was trash. And I'm going to say that because you knew that stuff was going on because one, she had a nasty attitude. She probably had that since the day they was dating. And you can't change people. I don't care. You can't change people. Then the mother didn't make it no better. So I don't even know if he was staying at the mama house or not. That's definitely not good. You staying with your in-laws.
Now listen, I'm Filipino, and we can all live together. It's what we do. You can't be judging on that, okay? I'm just saying maybe mom should have stayed back quiet because mom was definitely what she was like, what are you going to come in here talking? What you got to come in here talking? She's
Then I'm saying it's
mouthing.
like, and like I said, he should. Like I said, that's something. That's not the first time they've been having issues with each other. They probably go separate, get back together, still had the same issues, and that's not good. And it ended leading to this man losing his life, and that's sad that he lost his life. But one, the man was trying to leave, true enough, but that girl got some issues, and the mom ain't making no better. I see where she get it from.
I definitely
The
want
mom
to,
didn't make it no better. The mom should have said,
mm-mm.
"Girl, no, stop. You need to go on or whatever." But the mom didn't make it no better, so she just sitting there egging it on. And I just say it.
And for me, Courtney, I'm always on here talking about relationships, so that's why I'm going to bring it up. We're going to bring up what we're seeing out, in the media, what's going on. But for me too, just very passionate as a domestic violence survivor myself. I just want to say that for anybody out there that is in a situation that you're facing, DV, get out, get help. Furman, hopefully you'll put it on, the site, but toll free number is 800-799-7233, or you can text start to 88788. And I just want to make
Well,
sure that we are putting that out there for our viewers to be able to call if you're needing somebody to talk to.
well, just on this road you do, just send me the information, and I just put it in the comment section.
And so,
Yeah, just to
but for
kind of link
me,
both those.
what'd you say, Daquan?
Oh, I was gonna say to link both of
We
those
said, "Quan."
events, because the children are so messed up. Thank God there's people out there like Courtney to create a child's book that can get
Yes.
their mind into the real world, but without it being fake. Because oftentimes I do see parents are for themselves, and once you have a child, we know you're not supposed to be like that. Like, how often do we see mother and father go out looking this all the good clothing, none of that name brand, kids look like nothing, but they're getting their checks off of them, or they're getting whatever from the child, they're getting their benefits. But again, they make children secondary because it's like, well, I had you, so you're mine, so you're gonna listen to me anyway. And I think that's so damaging to children.
I agree.
Yeah, just gotta be careful out here. I mean, it's getting crazier and crazier. About it. You see it on the news, you see it on different platforms. It is getting crazy out here. You got to gird yourself and be careful. Be careful you get involved with. We know we had some bad people in our lives in the past. True enough, but when you get wiser and you start maturing, you can discern between the two. So just be careful you get involved with, especially guys, girls. Just be careful you get involved with. Don't get smooth by their words. Anybody can say stuff that sounds good. They only say that to go along to get what they want out of you. So just have to be careful. Just go meet anybody. Just be careful out here because all it takes is one bad decision can ruin everything. And in that one situation cost that young man his life.
And I
Yeah.
And
didn't
now the
see the video or
children gotta.
anything, but I just wanted to add, like, a lot of times people just don't understand the consequences of their actions. They just, like, she probably thought, I'm going to pull this gun out, and even if I pull the trigger and shoot him, he's not going to die. But it's like, that's what happens when you pull the trigger of a gun. Like, people can
Right.
die. Like, but I feel like a lot of people are so desensitized to the idea of what's about to happen. Like, it just doesn't really click until after it's too late, right? After he's on the floor and he's no longer breathing. And so just thinking through cause and effects, like, if I do this, like, what are the potential outcomes? And am I really prepared to live with those outcomes? Or is that really the outcome that I want out of this situation? If those two don't match, then maybe you should dial it back and try to think of how you can de-escalate the situation.
Absolutely. And I think this is one of those things we've been talking, previously on is, also just how social media plays into things. She was probably putting on this big show for social media of wanting to call him out. And I'm sure that hyped her up as well. But, and we talked about this too, as far as, doing things off of impulse. You've got to stop and think about your actions, people.
Oh, you got to. God knows a while back it was a video with his girl. Her boyfriend, I guess, they was arguing in the bowling alley. Man, she took the bowling ball and hit him side the head. He was leaking. and ain't nobody do nothing about it.
And I think it's also
This
just
stuff real.
yes, I also wanted to just bring it up and point it out because I think that we have a lot of people that don't realize that men are just as they fall just as much as victims to domestic violence as females do. And so, I think it's important that we're acknowledging that and and bringing awareness to that so that we can also help those men that are in those kind of situations.
Yeah, that's one thing I don't deal with, Desiree. I don't deal with no arguing, no fussing, fight, no putting hands on each other. That's something I do not deal with. I do not want that in my life. If I get signs of that, you're out the door. That's just me, because my life is too precious for something like that. I don't care how fine you is. Some of you gotta think like that, man. Love your life. Love your
He's like,
life.
I don't care how
Yeah,
fine you
I
is.
don't care. Yeah.
No, I
He
don't deal with
knows.
all that. No, I don't deal with all that. No putting the hands on me, violent. No cussing me. Don't be showing up my job, stalking me, and all that stuff. Nah, I ain't got time for all that. Hell
Look,
no.
now we
I'm
know that
serious.
we know if they show up at your job or my job, that's already going to be a downfall on their end. Okay, with where we work. So,
Right. Yeah.
which
Mm.
I didn't get to say, Courtney. So I work in Veterans Treatment Court for the City of Dallas City Attorney's Office, and so I'm going on I'll be starting my 6th year working with veterans, 2 years in Montana, and then the rest are here. And so I would love for somebody to come up into that dark police station trying to act a fool over something. Okay, we'd be nipping that in the butt real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
just no
because
reason. There's no
be
reason
careful who you
for
get
it.
involved with.
Yeah. Again,
It's
what if
not.
we
And what it is,
go ahead?
go ahead and finish this.
No, I was going to say
No,
this is
you go
where
ahead, ladies first. Go ahead.
we were also talking about how communicating, getting to know that person, not just rushing into things or being too fast without knowing what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to be careful out here, folks. Especially if you're single. If you're single, just be careful who you get involved with. And not wrong. I mean, talk to whoever you want to talk to, but at the same time, get to know this person. It takes time. It's not overnight. It takes time to get to know an individual, but get to know them. They should get to know you too. And like you said, Desiree, not to move too fast. Some people do move too fast, but get to know a person. Ask them. We talked about this a while back, Desiree. We talk about uncomfortable conversations, but at the same time, you want to make it comfortable with you just talking about these things. We know trauma is around. We know domestic, so all type of stuff is around, and this kind of stuff we need to know before we get involved with anybody. Now, because I'm glad now, Desiree, that this stuff is coming out now. Because back in the day, that stuff was never really talked about, but now it's just really coming out in the open.
Yeah, and I think that just what our topic was on Saturday. So if anybody missed that on Saturday, talking about getting in a narcissistic relationship and how to handle that situation, and this is just kind of one of those things that ties into that as well, of just how toxic and unhealthy it is.
So, yeah, it is, and that was a toxic situation that the young man was in. But let you know that's something that been going on. That wasn't not no first time. So they've been having issues. They've been having these types of conflicts in their marriage. And I think, matter of fact, Keisha brought that question up. It's like, why are we married for? That's an interesting question. Why are we married for? Why are we getting together for? And that's something we never think about. A lot of times people get so excited about the wedding, but they don't know a thing about the marriage.
Mm-hmm.
They want the lavish wedding, and they think that's it. But what happened when reality set in? When you got responsibilities and you have the ups and downs, and you're gonna see this individual in their worst, you gonna see them at their best, and that's when people say, "Oh, I ain't signed up for all this." So that's marriage is for mature people. That's just my opinion. You gotta be very mature, and you gotta be ready for that. Can't be immature. Can't be immature. If you're immature, you're not gonna make it. That's just for anything in life. Grow up, be mature about the situation before you get involved. Especially if you have dreams and goals. Too, You can't get with anybody. If they're not matching your vision, they're not matching your drive, kick them to the curb. Because you don't want anybody holding you back. That's the worst thing, too. You will actually have somebody who will try to hold you back, and they will use that love thing against you. They'll manipulate you. Well, you don't spend time with me. Why you don't do this and do that? And for you know it, they suck you right in. So you gotta be careful you get involved with too. Especially when you got your work to do. And especially when you're doing your work, you about your business too. Be careful. Be careful. So we speaking on that. So Courtney, you have anything you want to share with the listening audience? What final remarks you have for the listening audience?
Yeah, first off, thank you guys for having me on the show. I really enjoyed this time speaking with you guys, and you had some really good questions. But to anyone out there that's, has a crazy idea like I did, just have faith in yourself. And I call God the universe sometimes, like look to the universe for support. I like to catalog how many God winks I've had that day, and those are just little nuggets that tell me that I'm on the right path, right? So look for those and lean on the wisdom that's already inside of you. Just tap into it. Tell yourself, I can figure this out. I don't have all of the resources, but I'm going to get the resources and they're going to come to me. I don't know how, I don't know when, I don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to happen. And if I just keep staying focused on what I'm supposed to be doing, and I stay persistent, and I keep demonstrating that I think that this is possible, it's going to happen. And that's all I have.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even call it crazy, Courtney, because it's not crazy. Anytime you dream, it's not crazy. It may be crazy to a mediocre person, but to a person that got greatness, nah, it's never too crazy. Man, keep be about your business. I give you your roses. I applaud you. You about your business, and you're a young girl, young woman. And what I respect about you at your age, you're not being all over the place. You focus, and I respect that because
Mm-hmm.
some people just not focused. They all over the place, but you're focused, and I respect that. We respect that about you.
Thank you. Thank you for all of that.
Yeah, and I'm thinking if you need, some, extra people to go with you to Germany when you're shooting your video,
Yes.
your short film, I think you've got some extra, faces here on this call that will be happy to go to Germany with you while you're shooting that.
Yeah, the laundry list of people who have told me that is growing, but let's all go over. We can fill up the entire plane.
Right? We'll just charter one whole flight there. Why
And
not?
Exactly. Let's make it happen.
how long that flight is? That's how
It's
long was the flight
it's
from? How
9 hours to get there. So you leave DFW around 4 or 5 o'clock, and you land the next day at about 8:30 in the morning. And then to come back, it's about 11 hours. So usually I leave 11 a.m. in Germany and then land here in the afternoon, the same day in Dallas. And it's a nonstop flight.
okay? Okay, so you said it was 9 hours to get there, and then it was you said how long was to get back?
11 to come back.
Okay, well
Don't try to do the
you had to
math,
stop in
Furman.
between.
No,
No
it's
stops in
nonstop flight.
between. Nonstop. You just on that plane.
Look at, we're not gonna try to explain the math on that, but just trust us. That's how it goes, and that's why I think we definitely need a party charter jet, right, guys? So we can just, if you're gonna be on there that long, why not have it with everybody that you can be hyped up about the occasion with, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Because I know a lot of people now are taking trips overseas now. A lot of people start to do that now. They start to get out in the United States, and it's good to get out, go see other countries,
Mhm.
see other cultures, and just see how they live and how they do things, and explore your horizon, expand your mind. So that's a beautiful thing because people are starting to do that now. They start to get out of the United States and just go see different places and visit different places. So that's good right there. I want to go to Canada though. I want to visit Toronto, Canada. I always
Yeah,
want to
I've been
visit
to Toronto
Toronto.
too.
They
And
said
that's
Toronto
very
legit like New
easy.
York City. I just want to go visit that.
Yeah, and that's only like a three or
Oh,
4 hour flight. So you can just hop across the border
oh
and
really?
yeah, that's easy.
When I was living in Montana, it was just a couple hours from where I was at in Montana just to drive over. And I don't know why, but I never went to Canada. And I wish that I would have, because just to say I have, I mean, I've been out of the country. I used to own a travel agency. So I've managed to be,
Oh really?
I was blessed enough to go to Jamaica several times. Of course, Mazatlan, Cancun, Cozumel. I've been to Great Exuma, which if anybody wants to go somewhere tropical, Great Exuma, it is like only a 9-mile island. It's like the airport itself is like a house, the runway is like the shortest runway you will ever see in your entire life. But it's beautiful. But of course, to Bahamas, Punta Cana, all those places. But Italy is on my list. Going to Ireland is on my list. These are places that I
Okay.
definitely want to be able to go see and do.
Yeah, and to that point, like you don't see too many
Yeah.
people that look like us, like doing things like this. I think that number is growing. There's a lot of groups and organizations that have tried to fuel that movement. But part of what I'm blessed to do is like I can share all of that with these people who are following me on Instagram and with my family and friends. So while we were in Germany, we took a trip to Paris and we were there for like a day and a half, and I was able to take pictures with the Eiffel Tower, which is featured in the book. And like people don't realize how
Hmm.
easy it is to do those things, right? But first thing is you got to get your passport. Then, try to pick a place and just go. Like you'll be fine. There are all of these tips and tricks you can pick up on. Just try to do it and get a little outside of your comfort zone, maybe, but it'll be well worth it when you go and have that experience.
And it will be. And don't be afraid. People gotta get out their comfort zone. They be so afraid because I don't know anybody, and just take that chance. Just get out.
I think
Get
it
out your comfort zone.
I think it humbled me
You
going
get.
and seeing different countries, just really being able
Mhm.
to appreciate what we have here, but then also, just to educate yourself. Again, I'm all about that growth part. And so I think the education part is, wonderful for anybody that is wanting to go to Canada. Let me just go ahead and say, if you have a DUI, Canada is not going to let you in. So you might as well knock that one off your list. So, any listeners that have that, Canada's not the place for you. But I even think, it was important for me to take my sons. I started taking them out of the country when they were little. And it wasn't just about the resorts where everything was being catered to you. I mean, I took them to different orphanages to hand out
Mhm.
crowns, and seeing kids get excited when they can get a whole box of color crowns versus just picking out 2 out of the box and then having to pass it along. That was so rewarding for them to see that, seeing how a lot of them are having to catch water on their roofs, to be able to bathe. And our kids need to see a different culture. Kids in Jamaica that were walking, and I was so devastated. I was like, we have so much room on our bus. Can we not pick them up and take them? And they're like, this is the way of their life. Like, they don't want to ride this bus. And I'm like, well, how far are they going? And they're like, some of them walk 14, 18 miles home. And I'm like, it's pouring down rain. Put them on my bus. And so it's just something that you definitely have to experience to be able to truly understand and get it.
Man, that's what's up right there. This is a great time. Also, I did put the number Desiree across the stream.
Thank
So,
you.
or if you are dealing with domestic violence, there's a hotline number where you can text start 888-788. So you know anybody who is dealing with that, or you may be going through it yourself. That's the escape number right there across the stream. So get it, share it. Make that call if you need it, or you text. So make that text or make that call if you really need it. Give a big shout out to Desiree. Desiree gave me the number and I put it across the stream. So kudos to her for that.
Thank you. And Courtney, thank you so much for
No problem.
coming
So we're about
and
to agree to
sharing
get off the
everything.
air.
Oh, I was just telling Courtney, thank you for coming and sharing everything. It was a
Most
pleasure.
definitely.
Thank you guys. This is great.
Oh yeah, we appreciate you. Oh, thank you as well. It is on the replay will be up on YouTube, of course. We will have some clips up as well. I'll be mostly glad to send you the episode, Courtney. You can have it on your end, and you can be able to share it or whatever you want to do with it. So just shoot me your email, and I'll be glad to send it to you as well. I know we're gonna have clips up. By the way, the auto version will be up on Spotify, on Google, Apple Podcasts, on all social media outlets. So it will be up as well. So give a big shout out to those who will be listening to us on Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts as well tonight also.
Hey, I'll be reaching out to you, Courtney.
Yeah, anytime.
So
If anybody has any
man,
questions or needs help navigating anything, just hit me up. I'm here to help.
Yeah, love that. Thank you so
man, that's
much.
what's up right there. So we're about to get ready to get off. Before we get off, so Desiree, go ahead and plug in what you got going on, and we're about to then I'm gonna get passing on to the Quan, then we'll pass on to Courtney. So Desiree, go ahead, which plug in.
I'm just going to give the simple one tonight, guys. And so, look, because instead of going through all the 10 different organizations that you can reach me through, I'll make it short. City of Dallas City Attorney's Office for the Veterans Treatment Court. And you can reach me either by email, which is desiree.bailey@dallas.gov, or you can call me directly on the cell, which is going to be 214-422-3406. Passing it to you, Daquan.
Awesome. And go ahead, Daquan.
Grace and peace, y'all. Daquan. You can reach me at Daquan Jones on Facebook. That's kind of really where I'm primary at. My website is answerus.org. I'm into community building, project work, answering service, whatever it is, name it. Yeah, and I'm just trying to work and let's build this community. But definitely tune in.
What's up?
Answerus.org, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's up. And go ahead, Courtney.
And Courtney Kelly, you can reach me at Courtney Kelly Books on Facebook and Instagram. Also through the website, CourtneyKellyBooks.com. And if you're on LinkedIn, Courtney Lynn Kelly, Lynn. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome, man. We appreciate everybody for just really hanging out with us here tonight on the podcast. We're about to agree to get off here tonight. We're going to be back tomorrow night here on Walking This Way, Impact West Podcast. Same time, of course. And we'll also remember this. Remember the graveyard. Remember, everybody had one thing in common. They thought they were going to see tomorrow, and they did. Let's live life like it is our last. And most importantly, let's love ourselves. Take a look in the mirror. Tell yourself, lift your head up high, look yourself straight in the mirror. Tell yourself, I love you. Tell yourself, I got your back. Tell yourself, we're going to succeed. Tell yourself, we're going to conquer. Tell yourself, we're going to master this. Tell yourself, we're going to overcome this. And most importantly, tell yourself, we are going to win. So, man, y'all have a great night. We're going to be back here tomorrow night. Me, Desiree Daquan, we'll be back here tomorrow night. Big shout out to Coach Shay. She was not feeling too well. Big shout out to her. Big shout out to Ursula as well. They didn't get a chance to make it on here tonight with us. But most importantly, thank you, Miss Courtney Kelly. I give you your roses. Desiree, I give you your roses. Daquan, I give you a cigar. So, man, y'all have a great night. We'll be back here tomorrow night here on Walking This Way. Man, y'all have a great Tuesday night. And remember, go for a ride. When I say go for a ride, go ride the city. Take a look. No, get your focus back. That's what I'm going to tell you something. Get your focus back. Whatever you need, if you need to go to that place, if you need to cry, but get right back in the game. But go for a ride or something. Clear your head. Go get some drink. Man, let's start living. We got to start living. I'm going to live. I want you to live. I know Desiree going to live. Daquan going to live. Courtney going to live. And those who watching us, man, live your life and be happy. And don't let nobody bring you down. And if they're negative, kick them to the curb. Don't even entertain that conversation. Don't let nobody bring you down. Live your life. But most importantly, let's live a great life. We're going to be back here tomorrow night here on Walking This Way, Impact West Podcast. Peace, everybody.
All right.
I think you only love me cause I'm poppin'. This a layup, this a rebound, then it's driving. Tyson with the fade, not the air, my hands rocking. When I link with ball point, you know it's not knocking. I'm not